Next up, we have John Kim. John is the Chief Product Officer at Expedia, where he leads Expedia's overall product development efforts. This includes the consumer-facing website, the mobile app, air, car, hotel, activities, as well as their supplier and partner systems and tools. He also flies the corporate jet, makes the office coffee, and he was the guy that after the old Expedia.com commercial, he was the guy that said .com. It says a lot about Expedia's commitment to Mountain Travel Symposium that John is here. He truly is an innovator. Please welcome John Kim to the MTS Talk stage.
Thank you. So there's nothing worse than being invited to speak about innovation and then being told that you're going to go after Google. It's a horrible feeling. But one of the things that I knew when I came up here and was invited to speak and was told I was going to go after Rob was I knew he was going to talk about glass. So I brought my own. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I went in after him and talked about glass too? Just from my perspective. It's a little different perspective. So let's begin. That's basically what my presentation is about, which is a day in the life of Google Glass. And by the way, I didn't wear it for most of the MTS conference, but when I wear it and I'm out and about, people will typically say something like, there's something in your eye. And I say, yeah, it's a screen. It's pretty cool. What's it like to be wearing one of these devices? What's a day in the life look like? Well, the first thing that happens when you put on one of these is that you get a menu. And so you'll get the time. They'll tell you a menu item where you have to say, OK, glass. And that will bring up a set of commands for you. Typically, it's take a picture, record a video, hang out with friends, get directions. You probably know what the first action is for any newbie that's putting on this device. And that's take a picture. Because that's the only thing that makes sense. And the first thing that everyone takes a picture of is their desk. Because there's really nothing that interesting when you put this on, and you gotta load it up. And so that's the first command. And of course, you take multiple. I actually was not driving when I took this picture. I was the passenger side. So I took the picture when I was a passenger. That was my drive to work. Hello, Expedia, Bellevue. Time for coffee, my team, my office. So I just became a photo-taking machine. That was basically my day. Okay, so what were some of the reactions as I was wearing this device for the first time and walking around the office? Well, there was a lot of people, because I work at Expedia, who were just curious and amused. They wanted to get access to this. They wanted to talk to me about my experiences. They were very, very curious. They wanted to try it on for themselves. There was another group of people who were a little confused. And so Rob kind of joked around. He was taking pictures by just winking. There are some people who don't like getting their picture taken. That is one of the facts about society, is that they want that permission. So there were people who wanted to avoid me at all costs because they thought I might record them. And that was one of the realities of wearing this device is, hey, it has an implication in regards to how we communicate and interact with others in the world. I was confused. So can I wear this into the restroom or not? Now, it's very awkward when all you have to do is wink and take a picture. So the question is, and by the way, Rob made me pay full price for these glasses. So am I going to take them off just to go to the restroom? That's really, it seems awkward. But of course, if you have it lying around, someone's going to take it. So there was a little bit of confusion here in regards to what is really the etiquette. We'll have to develop a whole new book of manners with these new digital devices. One thing that I also did not understand and realize until someone told me that they could Google me and see all the things that I was streaming to the web was that this streams everything to the web. At the end of the day, the novelty of this device did turn to a little bit of frustration. But my final grade, I give it an A+ for effort. I just think that this is incredible effort. It's the first of our kind. It is the first thing that we are playing with, so it's not perfect. But what a great effort. I also give it an A+ for geeky. Man, this is the device. If you ever wanted to be known as a geek, just wear this device. You know what? If you want to fix this device or fix any use cases, you better know how to code. So that's how geeky you have to get. And then an A+ for socially awkward. I just think that if you're going to wear this device and walk around town, walk inside your company, meet some neighbors, there's going to be some socially awkward moments. And if you like that, then this is a great device. And if you like the movie, does anybody recognize this movie? Well, you are only a glass away from starring in the starring role. Now, what's... a lot of laughter here. I presented something like this in Las Vegas, and someone came up to me in my Q&A session and said, "Is it true? Are you a virgin?" I said, "Wow, I can't believe I'm giving you that vibe, but it must be these glasses." That's the only thing I could think of. Okay, so that's the Google Glass. The glass actually in itself is not that important. And what do I mean by that? Well, there are things that you learn wearing this device that I think are undeniable truths that we have to deal with as a travel industry. So let me talk a little bit about what those undeniable truths are. One is that you are wearing the internet, and that is so cool. And the reason why it's so cool is because you have, right on your face, access to all human knowledge, right there. And because of that, you will see that every company in the world will relentlessly invest in this technology because this is undeniable. You want this power. You want this access. And when you go to CES or you've seen the things that have been coming out in regards to the marketplace, you see that the investment's already starting. This is just the beginning. We know that there'll be 14 billion devices that are not phone that'll be connected to the internet in less than 4 years. To give you a sense of scale, think of India and China alone having 2 billion phone devices. That means 7 times the number of devices than those two countries that will have no access to a traditional device like you know it today. 2, it's a completely different ballgame. There is no HTML. There is no mouse. So if there is no HTML and there is no mouse, and someone says, "I want to go to your website," what will they type in? What will that experience look like on these type of devices? By the way, it's not limited to just the phone. It is to all the wearables that are coming out. There are experiences that you will have that have no presentation layer, as we say in tech. Also, this means there's no sessions. And this is a big deal. Everybody who operates a website thinks about session management. They think about cookies. They think about all the technologies that they want to have to make things personal. But on this device, which is ultimately personal, there are no cookies and there are no sessions. That means you must get the user's permission. So who in this room is good at acquiring those permissions? There's nobody good at acquiring those permissions. So it's a beginning art for many of us. It's a completely different engagement model. And let me give you some examples of what I mean. So one of the things that Rob touched on is that it's not a pull model, it's a push model. Well, that idea is not a secondary idea, it's a primary idea. What do I mean by that? Well, imagine that you're walking the beach, you're on the pier, and you're inspired because you want to take a trip. Will you say, and will you query the web? So will I ask for Expedia to come up into my glass and then ask Expedia through a voice to say, "I want you to go into the tab that says vacation packages. I want you to click on the little radio button that says hotel plus flight. I want you to type in," it's not going to happen. Right? It's not meant for querying. It's meant for a completely different interaction model. So I actually think that it will be pushed to you. So the internet being pushed to you. Imagine that you're at a coffee or cocktail party, and you've done searches before. You were on your laptop. You were looking for those vacation trips. You were looking for different prices that might be appealing for you and your family. Don't you think it makes more sense that what will end up happening is that data will be streamed right to your glass so that you have real-time access to any type of deals that might emerge? If a new fare becomes apparent. Currently today, when we think about the industry, consumers will do up to 48 searches before they actually book a vacation. So in this new world where you know that data can be unlimited, where it can just be pushed to you, how many more searches will occur before you actually book a trip? You have to be thinking about these experiences. And again, in this experience, there is no HTML. Details that I want when I need them. So how many of you, when you plan a vacation, do a ton of research? I know for myself, I'll look at the web, and there's lots of hands up there. I'll look at my Frommer's books, I'll look at maps, I'll start to look at all the things that I want to experience when I'm on the road. So why is it, though, that when I'm on the road that this is still the state of the art? Bring the book with you. So when I go on trips with my wife, she's got the Frommer's book in the bag, and I think, why the heck do we need that? We have a tablet. But the reality of it is that current digital experiences today don't deliver against even the most fundamental experiences. So what people want when they're wearing this type of device, when we talk about push, it's about accessing the power of the internet and getting it to work for you when you need it. Doesn't it make more sense that you would have a digital repository for all of your notes, all the things that you've planned? And again, for those things not to be something that you query and pull for and access and retrieve, but rather that it's pushed to you when you need it. If you're going to go to Belize and you're going to look at the temples or the ruins, don't you want that information, all the research that you've done, just pushed to your device? And again, have that access to all human knowledge pushed to the tip of your eyeball. Okay, third is that I'm 100% sure that all these devices are going to push the boundaries of the human experience. And we've seen a lot of momentum in this space in regards to different companies investing in different types of technology. So what do I mean? Well, I think if you actually read a lot of articles, what they'll say is that in the future, what people will do is they'll put on these devices and they'll have these virtual vacations. They'll be at the edge of their couch and they'll say, I want to go to Hawaii, and I want to sit at the beach, and I want to relax and drink a Corona. And I just think that that's a baloney. You know, I just can't see it. I can't see the virtual vacation being the real thing in any foreseeable future. Rather, I actually think that there's a different thing that will happen. And to give you and highlight what I think will happen is I'll tell you a story, which is a few years ago, I went to Minneapolis for the first time with my father, who grew up there post-college. So he had a few years in university, and then he worked there in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And I visited St. Paul for the first time with him because we had an uncle that was going to pass. And so with a lot of time, he drove us around St. Paul and showed us different places that he grew up in, that he lived in, that he went to work at, where he met my mom, where he had a first kiss. And I kept thinking, and I was so engaged during that period of time, to understand what is the history of my father in this place. And I can't help think that these devices promise some sort of solution to the following idea, which is, what if I weren't there with my father at that time? Those locations would have meant nothing to me. And so we cannot lose sight to the fact that what we're trying to do is capture the world and enhance the human experience. So you can imagine that I would want pushed to me at any given point in time are my dad's notes. My dad's notes about different places and experiences that he's had in his life. When we think about the go, we think about video recording those experiences. Doesn't it make sense that eventually what will happen is that we'll play the world through those type of experiences? And they may not be our own. If they're not our own, doesn't that bring us one step closer to the people who've had those experiences? One step closer to connecting with our own humanity. So what you'll read in the space is that there's 2 points of view that are emerging in the world. One is that there's a set of experiences out there and a set of people out there who believe that these devices will lead to greater isolation. There's another set of people who will promote that they think it will enhance the human experience and will bring us closer to humanity. And I think I'm in the camp that I think it will do both. But the question for this group is this really the breakthrough and the opportunity for us to really promote and enhance the way of life? As you can imagine, all these things that we just talked about in regards to having, let's say, a virtual vacation or enhancing your experience on the ski slopes, those things are within our reach. And one set of experience can promote the experience, and another can enhance what's happening when it's occurring. And that's my final question to everyone in this audience, is what are we doing as an industry to promote and enhance this way of life? Thank you.